The Moab Domination is an incredibly cool tower that has a lot of unique capabilities that are unlike others. It has extremely good pierce, very good damage, and is great along straight lines while still being able to knock back some of the larger targets. However, on a map like Quad, these advantages don't really come into play, especially because of its limited range and the tracks going absolutely everywhere. So I decided to take on a bit of a challenge and try using Moab Domination on Quad. I'll be bringing Sauda along for the ride, and the Moab Domination of course is going to do the bulk of the damage, get over 1 million pops, and just see how does it fare on a map with a difficulty like this. So it's not going to be really suited well, and it's definitely going to be a bit of a challenge, but I've got some tricks that I think will help push this forward. I'm going to start off with 2 Desperados and going into the 2 Snipers, and then I'll just be able to go into Sauda with that, which is really nice. However, I placed Sauda a round late because I'm a silly goose and was not paying attention. After this, I actually had to decide what I wanted to go because I wasn't sure what the challenge was going to be until now, where I decided that I'll try to go for Moab Domination, so I put that boomerang right there and we're off to the races. That guy's just going to become a Kylie boomerang for the early game, which will be really nice. I will have a really chill and easy early game. Just put down those 2 spike factories to deal with the early camos coming in, and that will deal with everything in the early game too. And then while Sauda's leveling up, I can just focus on getting defense on the bottom side. Moving along, the plan of attack was to get the Moab Domination super early, so I decided to go for a Bads, and with just a 204 Babs, Alk buff, and then just the villages, this should be able to get a Moab Domination just at the start of round 81, which will be super good. Doing this, I'm going to have to definitely do a lot of micro on the Bads and some Sauda abilities too, trying to plan out what rounds I can use it and what rounds I can't. The boomerang down there is not really going to be doing a whole lot. I guess it's a little bit, but still a big save up with just this one Dartling Gunner right here. So I'm going to try to push through things and get everything moving. After this, I thought that everything would be fairly straightforward, but I was a little bit wrong. A lot of weaknesses did kind of prevail, and you'll see those later. But I was able to get a lot of them down with just a few key towers, and this made me think possibly a different approach could have been a little bit better that would hold down some of the weaknesses that are more prevalent in the late game, as compared to having an easier mid game with the Bads. So something like that, something to think about maybe, but this ended up working out really well, and with Sauda it allowed me to push into the Moab Domination super early, which also sometimes gives a bit of an advantage. Sometimes the mid-game going for it earlier will allow you to be able to build into key towers for late game, starting off at an earlier position, so you could get like an overclock down fast, so you don't have to end up buying some of the smaller towers later, which is more ideal to buy the smaller towers last. But I don't think this would be necessarily like the end all be all. So as for optimization, this definitely isn't fully optimized. I definitely think there's a better approach. I mean, there's some cheese approaches, like you could use Brickle Destroy or whatnot, or I mean Brickle Pirate Lord would get more spare with it, but other than that, I think it's pretty cool. I feel like there's still something that would be better that would allow you to get 1 million pops or more on the Moab Domination, but this was definitely a pretty good solution, I want to say, and it did get a kind of satisfying amount of cash spare. Sada's going to be doing really well. Even though she got some nerfs, she's still pretty good on the top lane. Usually would just need something to like knock back stuff in the mid game, and I will just be using the bads to do that. But for camo detection, I'm kind of going crazy with this one foam, migrating it around. This was a trick that I found. I don't know if other people used it, but if you put the foam right there, you can decamo 3 of the 4 lanes and just have one tower at the end kind of clutch up camo. So that would be Sada, and it works out pretty well, which is nice. Going into the late game with Moab Domination up, there were a few key things that I definitely had to get first. First of all, I needed to alch buff the Moab Domination, so I grab an alch for that, then get primary training on both villages because I will be getting a Moab glue and an Arctic Wind at the bottom. I was thinking of doing Bloon Impact, but I decided to instead go for Arctic Wind because it would be a little bit cheaper and it might not get as pierce capped as the Bloon Impact would be, and also would be less distracting. Anyways, just synergize better with the bads to knock more stuff back. And then I went for Overclock. Overclock will be pretty much on the Moab Domination the whole time, so that's just going to be doing a lot of damage, and basically it will take out the bottom and right track while it will do a sizable amount of damage to the left track too, which basically means that some of the left track and the top track has to be taken out with Sada, which didn't really go necessarily as well as I thought, I want to say, but I was still able to get it down. Round 95, everything looked super scary because I was struggling a lot, but I ended up going for Relentless Glue on the top side, and with this was the last that I had to spend, which is really, really nice. Well, actually, I had to spend a little bit on round 98, but besides that, I ended up just saving the rest as cash spare, which was pretty cool. I was honestly expecting to get around 40k at the start, and then by the time round 95 came, I was seriously doubting that, but towards the end, I ended up going with 32,000 cash spare, 32.7 thousand cash spare, so it's not a bad end result, especially for a map that gives so many challenges. Round 98, I definitely could have beat without removing one of the obstacles. I ended up removing 2 of them, but it took so much RNG that I just don't think I would have time to feasibly do it really. I got some attempts that were close, and I definitely think it's possible, but that's fine. And then on round 99, we just use that Sabo, and then 100, we can take the bad down with the Moab Domination, and then Sada and the bads will be able to clean it up, which is really, really cool. So overall, it was a really, really fun challenge, and using Moab Domination on a map that it really isn't good at was actually more fun than it might look. Sometimes when you're using towers that are bad on a map, it's just frustrating and terrible, but this one I feel like was kind of the opposite, because Moab Domination has so many clever techniques, and if you really put a heavy damage tower on one side, you can do some cool things on quad chimps. So that was that run, and pretty nice. Thanks for watching. If you want to help out the channel, you can check out these new videos, like and subscribe for more content, support the channel by becoming a member, and joining the Discord to chat with the community. Bye!